has made it clear that it is now looking out for the criminals instead of the victims. And LA County said, hold my beer, when they elected a guy who's never tried a case to be the district attorney of Los Angeles County. He has no business being in that office. And in fact, not only is he underqualified and inept, he is doing a whole hell of a lot of damage. Have you ever read 9 pages of FU? I did.
Not 9.
I
Not
did.
9.
I did. I read 9 pages of FU yesterday.
This is a letter from the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office and the District Attorney Anne-Marie Schubert, which is basically telling George Gascón, you keep your policies in LA County. You have absolutely nothing to do with any potential case in Sacramento County because your policies are absolute junk.
DA Anne-Marie Schubert joins us now from Sacramento County. Anne-Marie, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So not only is this letter saying you cannot touch any of the cases where we could file charges, it's also talking about the fact that his directives could impact the people of Sacramento County and therefore any other county in California as well.
Oh, there's no question about that. I mean, as I said in the letter, crime has no boundaries. They go wherever they think they can commit them. And, the reality is that we have had cases in Sacramento that have had overlaps of LA. Actually, right now we're prosecuting a murder case that, unfortunately, the baby was killed here and dumped in Los Angeles. So, they do, every county is impacted by these policies. And obviously every victim is as well.
The baby was killed here and dumped in Los Angeles. Thank you for bringing an anecdote to light, because too often when we're talking about Gascón, we're talking about the law and about how he's directing his prosecutors to break the law when they're going into court and they're dropping all of these special circs. But we're not talking about the faces and the people that this impact and the vile people that this county is standing up for. But you went into that in your letter.
Well, it's important that people understand that these policies that are so broad sweeping have real life impacts on actual cases. And when you look at, I could have probably written a 50-page memo on all the cases that I could give as examples, and these were just but a few. But he's got thousands of cases there, and every one of them that has an enhancement or a special allegation or, whatever these directives impact has an impact on crime victims and public safety.
You also make a great point early on in the letter, because crime has no boundaries. Los Angeles, as large as it is not an island. And your point about there being a lot of potential crossover. Sacramento County may be a stretch only because it's farther away physically, but we also saw similar comments from the DA down in San Diego County, which is right there. There's a chance that LA County and crimes in LA County could reach every corner of this state.
Yes, and I would give a huge shout out to the DA in San Diego for having the fortitude to say, I'm not letting you take my cases, because you're, essentially he's misrepresenting to the public how much time that person. This is not just some low level crime that we're talking about. These are very violent crimes of which the law mandates certain types of things be, added or enhanced or whatever based on the conduct and the person's prior criminal history.
There's one situation that you outline in your letter, People versus Gravoisner. Defendant charged with vehicular homicide, driving under the influence, causing injury with great bodily enhancement. Prior strike. This was a guy on active parole for first-degree burglary, driving a car high on meth, slams into a tree, kills a passenger, surviving passenger in a coma for 5 months. The person that was killed left behind 2 children and a husband. Under the normal charges that your office has filed, his maximum sentence is 12 years, 4 months. 80% he'd have to do. Under Gascón's directive, he would do 4 years in a county jail and only have to serve 50%. I don't think people understand who we're talking about here, that these aren't people that were unfairly treated in the system. These are really bad people.
Well, these are, when you get into the facts of the cases, and again, there's just so many that you could have, and the complexities of sentencing laws. So when somebody says to the public, well, the guy's looking at 72 years to life, well, that's completely misleading the public, because the fact is under certain early release provisions, they could be released in as early as 20 years.
I, as a resident of LA County, am absolutely floored by the I guess, desire to push back against victim protection, if that's even the right word. That the idea that,
or even people that aren't victims yet.
Right. Why would we continue to keep people at risk? A question about the number of district attorneys throughout the state of California. Obviously, Sacramento, one of the larger areas, one of the more populous counties. I don't think you're going to find a great ally over in San Francisco, but are other DAs, I mean, we mentioned San Diego County, are other DAs sort of on this train of thought where we're losing a great ally in Los Angeles County?
Well, there's no question that DAs, in particular today, the California DAs Association issued a press release saying that we stand, with the DAs Association in LA, and we're going to file a brief in their lawsuit. And that's because when you start looking, I mean, this is really an abandonment of a constitutional right of victims under Marsy's law. And it's also the fact that, these directives are essentially ordering their lawyers to go into court and lie. It's really as simple as that. They're being ordered to lie to the judge when they say, we think it's in the interests of justice to dismiss a special circumstance on the murder of a police officer or a young man that was killed, the skateboarder, or the baby torture case. And those lawyers are being forced into a predicament of lying that when they're not in the interest of justice.
Yeah, and to that point, thank goodness there are judges out there who have not been following along on this, who have not allowed the DA's office to do away with these special circumstances.
Well, luckily, the prosecutors in this county have sued, and I believe their court date is in February when a judge will weigh that question of is this DA effectively having them break the law, and in that vein, putting their careers in jeopardy when it comes to the bar and the oath that they took. Now, this guy took office December 7th, and you get to start the recall effort 90 days after. So we've got a clock ticking now for March 7th and mobilizing the people in LA County and bringing stories like you did, Anne-Marie, to light of these people that this will affect. And they're terrible people. So anyway, Anne-Marie, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Anne-Marie Schubert there again, District Attorney in Sacramento County. Scathing letter telling George Gascón
I want to
that
go
if there's
through
any crossover in those cases, he's not going to have his hands anywhere near them.
I want to go through some more of these anecdotal pieces of evidence about why his directives are so dangerous and terrifying for the people of LA.